Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to unveil a hidden gem, a resource that you probably didn't know is right here, not only in Hampton Roads, but based in Hampton at Fort Monroe. It's the Hampton Roads Philharmonic. And I have two of the folks with me here today. Steven Brindle, welcome.
Thank you.
And Debra Simmonds, hello. Now, you are the manager of the symphony and help set it up, or the orchestra.
Yes.
And you are the music director and the conductor.
That's right.
Okay, you guys have been here for like almost a year, but it's been, you know, kind of quiet, like in your startup phase. Tell us how this got started, because I know you were there from the beginning.
Yes, a friend of mine who, Luis Sotero, Dr. Luis Sotero, who runs La Bodega Hampton, has lived here all his life, and the military had, left Fort Monroe. And he came and talked to me, and he said, Deborah, why don't we, do a symphony orchestra and propose this to Fort Monroe. So we got together. I thought it was a great idea since it's vacant now. And we wrote a proposal. And so he submitted that to FMA, Fort Monroe Authority. And my job was to form the orchestra. To sell, yes.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I mean, coming up with the idea, how nervy is that? Like, you're just going to, out of the blue, form an orchestra.
Yeah, well, what we wanted was a high quality. We knew it had to be a community orchestra because it's not the Virginia Symphony, but we wanted something high quality because we knew high quality players, but they are not professional as in full-time being paid. They work doctors, we have physicists, all sorts of professions in our orchestra. We had the experience of sitting under Steven a couple years prior, and we always kept thinking about him because he was such an amazing talent, and when he walked in, he has it, and we knew it. So we formed this orchestra. Basically, it was from reference by reference. I'd call one person, I'd say, give me somebody's name, and then if I got that name twice, okay, put it down, then I'd call them up. So basically, sincerity, we formed this orchestra was formed in 3 weeks.
And what is your background in music and in other things?
In music, well, I grew up playing under Elizabeth Chapman, who was very big here in Hampton, and she started the string program. And we traveled a lot to London, to England. We did a lot of things under her. And then I moved out of the area. So I hadn't lived in the area for about 27 years. And then I came back a couple years ago and was ready to play again. That's about it.
But you knew, especially string players.
I knew string, I knew
not
string
as many
players.
in the area after your absence of that.
Well, no, yeah. I reconnected with some of my the people I knew before, and they knew someone, and they knew someone, and they knew someone. And so as a result of that, we ended up getting retired TRADOC members. We get TRADOC now in our orchestra from Fort Eustis. We have
They
Air
can play
Force,
on their own time, even if they're already in the TRADOC band.
Air Force Heritage Band. We have former concertmasters. We have music teachers that teach in other, in public schools as well. And then we have this plethora of, we have nuclear physicists from Jefferson Lab, we have doctors, electrical engineering. We have 5 great students from within this Hampton school system, Newport News. We're very open to that.
What an experience for those kids, that's great.
We enjoy them tremendously, and we try to showcase them towards the front, yes. And then, of course, we called him.
Okay, how did you find Steven, or how did Steven find you? I'm not sure which this is.
He had conducted us in a piece called The Student Prince a couple years ago in another community orchestra in Yorktown, the York River Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
He was recommended, I think, by Dr.
Reimer through CNU.
Yeah, and so he walked in to do one piece with this orchestra, and
he looks, no offense, 15 maybe.
I have a young face. I get told that a lot. It's okay. I'm used to it.
But he was so talented, and of course we were delighted. So we kind of kept in touch loosely.
Right, off and on through email a bit.
Yeah, and so once this orchestra was, and and formed. What was beautiful about calling Steven was not only did he accept, we had no pay for him. He lives in Richmond, so he took our word for it. That says a lot about character to me. And he travels every week to rehearse us.
Wow. So Steven, what is your background?
I went to CNU, Christopher Newport University, right here, not far away. I did my bachelor's there, also some graduate level classes there. Took graduate level conducting, some private lessons there. And then about the time I was finishing, I started to realize I wanted to maybe go into conducting as a career to get more serious about it. And so at that point, I sort of kept in touch and got a little closer with the professors who were doing our orchestra. And kept in touch with them kind of as mentors to sort of get me on the right track there. And then after CNU, I started to do some workshops and some more serious conducting studies. I went to the University of Cincinnati, did some stuff with Mark Thacker. He has a workshops he runs through the Peabody Conservatory. So did all that. And basically I was after just having done most of that is around the same time this kind of picks up from her story there. They're getting this orchestra together, and I'd already guest conducted the York River Symphony Orchestra. And so about this time, I just get an email that says, we're thinking about putting together a brand new orchestra. Would you be at all interested? And so then it just started going from there.
He also conducts the Richmond, was it City
Capitol Opera Richmond. It's
Yes.
a local opera company in Richmond, and they are sort of the similar scope of the Hampton Roads Philharmonic, local just to the area, put on 4 or 5 productions a year. Most recently did the Tenderland, HMS Pinafore, some other Mozart, some stuff.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
So at this point, you guys have a home because Fort Monroe Authority accepted the proposal. So you practice in the theater
No,
where do you practice?
We rehearse in the
band
vacated
room.
military band room inside the moat.
Oh, how cool
Yeah,
is that?
yeah.
What
Right.
a wonderful continuation of
Yeah.
that
Sure.
tradition. Because, when you're not real familiar with the military, you
Yeah.
forget how important that musical tradition is
Oh,
to
yes.
everything that they do.
And nothing would be even, I mean, it's just great to elevate our students again back in this city. Because, they cut the string program out in 1979 in Hampton. Still goes on in, other cities. But to bring, and one of the beauty of being at Fort Monroe, they give us in-kind donation, with the building. We use the theater, and of course we use the vacated military band room, but we are still autonomous.
That's right.
Yes, so we are the Hampton Roads Philharmonic, and that's important because we want to branch out throughout Hampton Roads,
So you do about 4 concerts a year at Fort Monroe.
Yes.
And then where else have you been performing, or do you plan to perform? American Theater,
Let's
I
see,
know.
the
for
American
one.
Theater most recently, like you said, at Fort Monroe a good amount of the time. Local churches in the area. We have First Presbyterian Church, I
they
think
do a
Hampton
concert.
Baptist
Yeah.
Church.
Ferguson.
At the Ferguson Center, we accompanied a production there for a singer. Where else? We've been all over the map.
That's a lot in a year.
That was
It really
7
is.
concerts. Yeah.
We had
Amazing
7
ramp
performances
up.
just
That's
over our
unheard of.
initial.
Usually it's just 4 for a community orchestra.
Yeah, because it is almost all volunteer. You did say
Yes.
you need some donations. You often
live off
play-
of donations.
Live off of
Yes,
donations.
absolutely live off of donations now.
But Steven does get a little bit of compensation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's our employee.
He's
Right.
your one employee.
Yes.
And everybody else is community-based. Wow, that's a big commitment for people doing this as a volunteer.
And we have, we do the American Theater. We're doing the concert series in Smithfield. And we got
Sundays at 4.
Sterling Elliott for that. He's the #1 cello. He won he's what, 15 or 16?
I think he's either 15 or 16. He's a phenomenal youth cellist. He's going to be doing the Elgar Cello Concerto with us, and I am very impressed. When I first listened to his recordings and saw his resume, I was floored because, like I said, he's young, but he's very talented.
Yeah, and he's a local known, so we'll be featuring him. And then we have on First Presbyterian Church with that double bass.
Yes,
concerto.
Matt Gold doing the Bottesini double bass concerto. So trying to bring in all local sort of soloists, so just from the area. Yeah.
We're trying, and we are working now with Virginia Choral Society, trying to firm up something with them as well. So we have. It's nice because so many people. One things we really want to do is bring in the community and work with the community and these other musical, productions and stuff. And so far, the response has been really, really.
It's been
good.
a really warm reception for being a new orchestra in the area, kind of the new kids on the block. Everyone has been interested in either collaborating or supporting the orchestra or coming to the concerts or just what have you. So it's been a really positive response this first just a little over a year now.
Yeah, and the people who have stepped up to do other things, the legal stuff, because doing a 501c3, it's a ton of paperwork. I mean, we've had attorneys who have stepped up. I mean, we've had our drum. We didn't have a timpani set. Those cost around $20,000.
Wow.
Donated to us. We had one person who's donated a huge organ. We hadn't used that yet.
But we have it. Soon.
Yeah, we got it, and also a conductor's podium. These sound like minor things, but that paperwork was not minor. And
I forget all that.
we have had so many people help us. An accounting firm, Express CPA, downtown Hampton. They're helping us. I mean, this is amazing, and we were talking an in-kind donation. All of this. We've just kind of been floored, but that showed me, honestly, what a vacuum we've had. It
is true.
What a vacuum we've had in this area. We have, the Virginia Symphony.
And they're wonderful.
Yeah.
And they do perform on this side of the water occasionally, but it's nice to have something more robust, more frequent. I think people who can go more often really begin to enjoy and appreciate classical music.
The whole thing has just been a big blessing. I mean, there's a lot of hard work involved. Don't get me wrong, but there are times we've had organizations. Hey, can you provide us a quartet, a quintet, a duo? And they have stepped up to the plate, and they do that as well, all in hopes to promote this Philharmonic.
And there's a lot that goes on the sort of behind the scenes, the back end of starting a completely new organization. Never mind the fact that it's an orchestra and you need players and instruments and equipment
right.
and
That's
all
all
that.
that was in my
exactly.
mind.
And
I forget the organizational
she's been singing my
part.
praises, but I mean, she's been instrumental in, as orchestra manager, just getting all of this together. Because there's a lot that you don't realize until you're involved in all of this, from scratch, and that you need all of this just to sort of come together, and someone's got to do it.
Well, the interesting thing is our music, for example. I mean, you start out, we had no money for music, right?
And you need that.
Right.
You need to purchase it, you need the rights, all that.
So what we did was public domain,
Yeah, most of a lot of people don't realize it. Well, one, it's great to be able to buy an edition of music, own it, have it in your own library. But you have the advantage of public domain if it's been out long enough. It's just free to use. You don't have to pay anyone, and that encompasses. Fortunately, for a classical, if we were maybe like a jazz something and did more standard stuff, we'd be maybe in a little bit more of a situation. But for classical, that covers the bulk of your standard.
The arrangements are done and all that.
People basically there's sites where people will just upload their. Just out of the kindness of their heart, will just upload their copies that they already have in their library, and then you can just go online. You can just download it, print all the parts, and you're good to go. And that covers the bulk of standard repertoire for an orchestra. Mozart, Beethoven, all the way up through probably 1920 or so. When public domain I think ends right now in the U.S. So.
Another interesting thing too regarding the music, we actually had I think it was a professor who donated his library.
The use of his library,
The use of his library.
An old orchestra. I think he was the director for Arizona Pro Arte. I think I may be pronouncing that wrong, but he actually was just came to one of our concerts, was very impressed, and emailed me out of the blue and said, "I have this very large library that please take a look at it." He sent me a list. He said, "If you need anything, I'd be more than happy to." to lend it to you to, for use for your orchestra.
I mean, that was.
Now, isn't
So-
that,
was
here you
amazing.
guys are largely as volunteers, giving your own time, A, because you enjoy the music, and B, to give back to the community, and then it taps so quickly into
Yeah.
members of the community
Right.
who are willing to,
A lot of givers.
to help with that. Well, congratulations
Yes.
on this, and
you.
I can't wait to come hear you guys. It's a wonderful asset to have you here in Hampton.
Thank you. We appreciate
you.
that. We enjoy it.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Deborah, for coming by and telling us all about it. I'm very excited.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. I hope you will take this opportunity to know this resource exists and to keep an eye out for their concerts. We'll keep you posted, and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.